couldn't we be way behind and be just as smart?
The Dan York State of Mind program is brought to you in part by Lookout Rhode Island and Taco Comfort Solutions.
All right, so over here I blew a tire, literally on the highway. So I'm going to use the commissioner's overall disposition because he's very. I wonder if he ever gets upset about anything. I just bought the doggone tires, so as we speak, it better get repaired so I can pick them up and get home tonight. Anyway, I just needed to process that. How is everybody? Good? Tuesday night? I have a correction I have to make before we introduce the Education Commissioner, and the entire show tonight is going to be on the issues of Ed Commissioner's perspective, the report, the strategy for us to, you know, make a rocky move on Massachusetts and the rest of the world with our proficiency. I'm sure you've seen the headlines. We'll show you in a second. I need to clarify something. Last night, I attributed this to the wrong person.
Brian DeCruz and some other individuals have called into some shock jocks and really stirred this situation up, and there are folks that are very disappointed in the election results, and they're sort of combining that anger into making this into a bigger deal than it is.
All right, so that comment was made at the South Kingstown School Committee in what I call the Friday Night Massacre, where the school committee decided to fire the lawyer who offered a legitimate opinion last year on conflict of interest for NEA official Sarah Markey. They don't like disagreement, and they don't like critical analysis, and they don't like to debate, and they don't like to respond to questions from the media, they being the school committee in general. But I will tell you that that remark I attributed to the chairperson, Stephanie Cantor. That is not her. That is Alicia Collins, the school committee woman, who decided, I think, in her passive-aggressive manner, to include me in the category of shock jock. I don't think we're going to be talking about boobies here tonight, but and it's not really my intent to shock, to set people straight sometimes in my own mind, but shock. Anyway, were you shocked at the scores? Here's the headline. Now there's a guy who looks concerned. Here's the story.
Stark results from the latest round of standardized testing.
The results are not surprising anyone who's been looking at the data over the years.
The first RICAS exam shows Rhode Island students scored 17 points lower than Massachusetts on English language arts and 20 percentage points lower on math. If Rhode Island was a district within Massachusetts, it would be in the bottom 10%.
I think these results say wherever you are right now, if you're happy with your school, if you're not happy with your school, there is clear and convincing evidence that we can and we must get better.
Rhode Island's Education Commissioner Ken Wagner says schools can improve scores by investing in early learning, ongoing professional development for teachers, and by making sure school stays relevant to kids. As for why the test results arrived later than expected and after the election, Wagner blames technical difficulties, not politics.
Even if you assume that there was some sort of effort to contain results, I've been saying the results for the past 3 years. We had a lot of technical issues that we had to work through in the first year of this new test.
The assertion there is that the data is held back so the governor can win, I guess, or something like that. I don't know you well, but I know you through the work, and I'd eat my hat if you played games with these numbers. I don't see you as that kind of a player.
Yeah, no, it's... Again, I've been saying it all fall. I've been saying it for 3 years. We scored dramatically lower than Massachusetts. This was the first year of a new test. The main thing we had to work through is we had to figure out how to help moms and dads, aunts and uncles. How can they understand that their child may have been proficient last year on a slightly easier test and below proficient this year? So what that means is we have a metric, it's called a growth score. So we had to go back, not only calculate all those growth scores, but also get the platforms ready to deliver them and also reprint the parent reports.
Okay,
so that was the cause.
All right, so nobody's confused. You did, I think, a really, really good job of orchestrating some place where we can have legitimate comparison. I'm sure it wasn't easy, but you got all the stakeholders finally to agree that we should take the MCAS in Rhode Island, which is now the RICAS. At least 3rd through 8th grade. I don't know why it's not in high school. You'll answer that question. Give me as short an answer as you can about how the stakeholders all came together for that transition.
Well, it was we've been comparing ourselves to Massachusetts forever. We've been
on all sorts of things, by the way, not just education,
Yep.
but go ahead.
We've been modeling a lot of the work that we've been working on for the past few years, early learning, curriculum, professional learning for teachers, all of the stuff that we've been talking about to improve our results. We've been modeling that on Massachusetts. So when the PARC consortium, the test that we used to give, was going south because they used to have 25 states, now they have 2 states, it just seemed to make common sense to partner with Massachusetts.
Well, it was an opportunity almost,
Yep.
right? That thing was going in the dumper and you were able to jump into the game.
And the more we talked about it, the more people agreed. And we got them all on the record a year and a half ago in April 2017. They all said this is the right way to go. So now we can't blame the test because we all agreed it was the right test. The participation rate is up to 98%, so we can't say it's not representative. This is just truth.
All right, you locked them in, and I think that was beautiful. I want to talk about the answers, meaning how we get better in our next segment. No, I'm not leaving anywhere. Hang in there, Kev. Don't jump the gun on me. You okay? But I want to talk about the psychology of this whole thing. You said on a number of occasions in the last week or so that, hey, listen, you know, our kids aren't less smart, or the Massachusetts kids aren't smarter than us. They're just 20 years ahead of us. I get it. By the way, do you ever get mad at anything, blown tires or anything like that? I mean, you're such an even keel guy. Ever have a bad day?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Good. Can I antagonize you into having
Please
a
do.
bad
Bring it
day
on.
here?
Bring it on.
I vehemently disagree with that single statement. None of your approach, and I'm sure I'm going to be all ears when it comes to the answers and how you want to improve things. But you've been here long enough to know that change around here is like pulling teeth. You agree?
We take our time sometimes.
I don't think we have, despite the cold shower that these numbers are, I don't think people are going to get it until they get mad. And so what I said the other day is, you can't have 15, 20-point deficiencies in direct comparison to Massachusetts and say our kids are just as smart. Now we can argue over semantics, but smart is acquired.
Yeah.
You get smart.
Yeah.
Are you trying to soothe everybody?
No. What I was trying to say is this clearly is a sobering moment. We've got to just acknowledge the truth. But we also have to have hope. We also have to see a path forward. Otherwise, everyone just shrugs, gives up, and says, we're terrible. And that's not true. We have to just get better. And in fact, not only get better, but get better at getting better. So when I say they're not smarter than us, because I agree with you 100%, smart is something that you get, and we just have to get it. We have to grab it like Massachusetts grabbed it. And grabbing it is not any single individual. Massachusetts did it because everybody was, just like our April 2017 release, where everybody at that brief moment was pointing in the same direction toward the RICAS, we need everybody today to be pointing in the same direction.
Because they're 20 years ahead, because they perform at 15 and 20 points higher, the Massachusetts students, on average, are smarter than Rhode Island students. Agreed or not?
So I'm a psychologist. Smart is typically
and
viewed...
I am a Kmart psychologist.
Yeah. So they're achieving higher than we are. But it's not just achievement. Our expectations are too low. We don't believe that our kids can do what I know they can do. And until everybody else believes it, I'm going to believe it.
You're a sports guy? You're a basketball fan at all, or a football fan?
What do you want me to say?
I know, I'm just asking.
No.
Are you? No, okay. There are coaches who believe that you go into the locker room and you hold carrots until you get performance. And then there's Bobby Knight who comes in and throws chairs and tells them the truth. I just want you to throw a chair once.
Yeah.
I just want you to throw a chair once. I want people to understand that this isn't funny, this isn't acceptable, and it's not true that our kids perform.
This isn't funny, this isn't acceptable, and it's not true that our kids can't do it. They can do it.
Be careful what you ask for. We shall be right back.
Teacher preparation, for example, is something that needs to change.
Why?
And it is changing, actually, because the overwhelming majority of teachers will tell you that they do not feel day one ready when they get their certificate, when they graduate. They are not trained in the science of how kids learn to read. They're expected to teach kids to read, but they haven't been trained in how to teach kids to read. And they don't understand the science between teaching kids to read.
Whose fault is that?
Well, I would think that it's the ed school and it's the teacher prep program.
So that's Erica Sanzi, Good School Hunting, the blogs. That was her last night. We're talking about the same issues of this test comparison. I'm scared. I don't know where the show is going to go from here. But I appreciated that, Commissioner. Just tell me now, is she correct about the teacher prep problems? And if so, what's the remedy?
So the problems are, it's a package, and it has to be a package. You can't do this and not that. You have to do it all together. So the things that I would say we have to focus on: early learning, investing in kids early. We have to focus on curriculum, because we still expect teachers to be not only deliverers of instruction, but scavengers for materials, because districts no longer provide, across the board, teachers with access to high-quality resources that are actually aligned to the standards they're supposed to teach. Then we have to look at student pathways, which start with the foundations: 3rd grade reading fluency and 5th grade fractions. If you've got kids on track in reading by 3rd grade, in math, specifically fractions by 5th grade, the rest of their lives are going to be easier, but it has to become more and more relevant to the life that they want to live by the time they get into middle school and high school. What your guest was talking about is we also have to pay attention to teacher pathways. Teachers were once students, then they become trained as teachers, then they become teachers, and then so we have to do how we prepare teachers differently, and we have regulations that are up for a vote, or at the time this airs, they will hopefully have been approved, to prepare teachers differently, dramatically more practical experience while teachers are being prepared.
So tonight there's actually a big vote. It's going to go from what to what, in simple terms?
So forever it's been a semester-long student teaching. One semester, student teaching, practicing being a teacher, where you're, in the course of just a few months, you're introduced to kids and then you get to practice. Typically you're rotated across a couple different places.
Is that pre-grad or post-grad?
It could be either, depending on when you become a teacher. We're proposing to make it a full-year residency. So not just 12 weeks, one semester. We're proposing 1 full year. It doesn't necessarily have to be 1 year packed together. It could be spread over, but the equivalent of 1 full year of practical experience to make sure the teachers are day one ready. And then once they're teachers, we currently don't have any coherent statewide approach to continuing to invest in our teachers to make sure they continue to get better at getting better. So this package also includes an ongoing professional learning requirement where teachers invest in their own knowledge and skill acquisition over time, and districts also have a coherent approach to investing in their people. Industries that don't invest in their own people fail. Industries that invest in their own people succeed, and we have to digest that in education. We've ignored what the rest of the world knows. We've ignored it in education.
So tell me what other remedies you're bringing to the table for the overall. I mean, you know, I use the analogy, or the metaphor all the time. It's like a sloppy Joe sandwich, right? You know, Mom used to make that for lunch, and it was great. And if you squeezed it, stuff came out the other side. Then you tidy it up, and then stuff can come out the other side. You've got to keep the bun on top of the entire program. So what are the other components that need to stay intact and grow? So
the biggest component, the biggest crisis that we have around moving our education system forward is leadership. We need to make sure that we have all of our leaders, our formal leaders or informal leaders, anyone who is an influencer in your community, in your school, your district, your state, your legislature, whatever it might be. We all need to not only be at the top of our game in terms of education, but all be pointing and moving in the same direction. We don't invest in our principals like we should, our superintendents like we should, and we all have to be on the same page. That's the secret of Massachusetts. Massachusetts had coherent leadership. It emanated from the business community. There were folks in the business community that put pressure on the legislature, but the elected officials were all in the same direction, and so on. And then the rest of it is common sense. Early learning, foundations for kids, curriculum for teachers, preparation and ongoing learning for teachers, and just put it together and repeat year after year after year.
This cliche worry out there of teaching to the test. Once and for all, can you explain what the runaway definition of that has been, and how does that relate to now this test being the ultimate comparison?
Yeah, don't teach the test. If you're teaching to the test, you're doing bad teaching. We need to teach to our expectations.
And the test will take care of itself.
And then the kids will do just fine on the test. Not only is it an insult to teachers and the teaching profession to reduce the complexity, the magic of teaching to the test, it won't work because our standards are more complex than they used to be. Our tests are more complex than they used to be. So you can't teach to these tests. If you teach to these tests, you're going to get bad scores. Now, kids need to be familiar with the kinds of things that are on the test. But if you teach to the standards and if you do it well and you engage your kids where they are and you challenge them and believe in them, we'll get there.
Massachusetts, in part of their reform, lessened school committee hiring, empowered superintendents and principals in personnel matters. Here?
Yeah, so we tried to do some of that a few years ago with some empowerment work. The basic idea is schools are where the learning happens. The learning doesn't happen in the State House, it doesn't happen in the district office, it doesn't happen it happens in schools and classrooms. So that means that the people in the schools need to be making the impactful decisions because they have the context. Now they need to be held accountable, they need to be supported, but things like imagine if you talked about sports, imagine if you were coaching a team and you had no choice of who was on your team. You need to have more autonomy about who's on your team, and also, and we don't talk about this, but in our school report cards that are about to come out, schools don't get the dollars they're supposed to get based on the funding formula. The funding formula says every school should get a certain amount of money based on the number of kids they serve and the needs of the kids that they serve. The schools don't see those dollars directly. Those dollars go to the district, and the district allocates those dollars based on other reasons.
I need 10 weeks of shows with the superintendent, but we got to come back and talk about the idea that he's being sued next. So we're going to have a guest, one of the litigants, plaintiffs against the commissioner, the governor, the General Assembly. And again, this is not, you ran into somebody's car lawsuit. It's a philosophical lawsuit, but the lawsuit is about a commitment that Rhode Island needs to make by judge's order for equal and adequate education as it relates to operating the democracy. It's a paraphrase. But it's a legitimate action. It's going to be in the federal court. You're a defendant. It's really about doing all the stuff to get people ready to operate well in the country. Do you have a thought about the litigation itself? What can you say about it?
Yeah, so I can't, of course, comment on the litigation itself, but I will say two things. One is the suit makes a link between how well we educate our people and how well our people manages its government and is able to participate in the operation of its government. That is an incredibly powerful, true idea, but it goes back to our founding. When we were founded, the link between the importance of education and the ability, I think the quip is, you got your republic, now keep it. It's on us to make sure that we keep
Forget about the suit itself. Do you think the civics is your impression that our kids and even their parents get civics?
Yeah.
I don't. I think we're at an all-time low.
Yeah, so there's the pieces of the civics of memorizing these facts or making sure that you vote and your voice is heard. What I'm concerned about is deep, thoughtful, inquisitive people who know how to ask questions, get information, synthesize information, form opinions, form relationships. All of that deep stuff that goes into being a person is related to being well educated, is related to participating in your government. The thing I will say very clearly is I 100% support any effort, and there have been efforts in Rhode Island, for example, around state constitutional amendments, any effort to guarantee the legal protections for kids' access to a high-quality education.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. It'll be funny to see whether you guys decide to go uncle in the federal court and then go work on it, because the state Supreme Court hasn't forced the mandate. And it may seem legal, technical, educational mumbo-jumbo to you, but it's another philosophical argument more than anything else, seems to me. I want to go back to some of the performance, because there's something that the Barrington superintendent wrote that concerns me, and I want to see what the commissioner has to say about this. First, we have graphs. I just want to show you some nice colors so you can see how difficult this is. This comes from the state. This is the mathematics, and Massachusetts is green, and we're blue. All right, so 3rd through the 8th grade, bang, okay? And then in language arts, the same kind of performance. Here's something that was interesting. Can we put this up, Kev, real quick so the commissioner can respond to it? This is what Michael Masori, the superintendent of Barrington, said in paragraph 2 of his message to the people. Mass is a consistent curriculum framework, blah, blah, blah. RICAS first time. As such, we thought it would dip. Understood. And then he says the following. With that said, Barrington demonstrated overall achievement at the top of Rhode Island, well beyond the state average, and also exceeded the state average in Mass and growth from the other bad test. You know what? This is what I predicted, and this is why I think, all due respect to the superintendent, who I'll welcome in here, you can throw a chair. It might become a habit. I don't want to see that, because Barrington's socioeconomic comparative towns in Massachusetts are also 10 to 15 to 20 points ahead of Barrington. Enough of winning the junior varsity game here, all the sports metaphors. Enough of that, because I think if we keep with that, it's just gonna be that same, because every kid in every, even poor performing school district has star students and great stories. Princeton from Central Falls. It happens, people. But systemically, we're not performing. Do you agree that those comparisons have to stop?
Yeah, if we stick with the truth, and I hope we do, it's what we said before, everybody can do better. We put there was a slide in our materials that you referenced, if Rhode Island were a district, we'd be at the 10th percentile of Massachusetts. We also put on that same slide Rhode Island suburban communities. Rhode Island suburban communities, as an aggregate, still score much lower than Massachusetts state average. So this is something that touches all of us. This is holding back all of our communities, all of our kids.
All of them.
And our economy. And that's the piece that we don't, not only is it a lack of investment, coherent investment in education important for education, but it's also important real bottom line economic work. So if we want our kids to have the kind of jobs that we want them to have, and I don't care where the kid grows up, including the suburbs, including Barrington, if we want that future for our kid, we have to solve this problem that we've truthfully identified now.
All right. Well, listen, I appreciate your temperament. I appreciate your approach. We had our semantics debate. I just think anger is healthy sometimes, and I don't think Rhode Island's angry enough. How you bring it out is going to be your charge. This is your moment, right? This is your Waterloo, it seems to me.
It's our Waterloo.
Got it. Appreciate your time. Final word when we come back. Stay with us. Well, you know what? The longer I'm working this career, the more often I can say there are firsts. Well, I should say less. The longer you're around, the less you experience firsts, but that was a first. I think the Ed Commissioner was either trying to satisfy my message or send the message that he gets what I'm saying. I mean, he probably feels like he can't turn around and say, hey, yeah, Rhode Island kids are dumber. But he is showing that he's concerned about it to the point where he's willing to offer a metaphorical animation. Yeah, let the word go that the commissioner is angry enough to throw a chair. Bobby Knight version. Pretty good. See you tomorrow. Bye.